Welcome, my friends. It is time for another wonderful Saturday to spend with your PD Professor and the Power University live stream team. All right. So I am your Professor Malik, and I'll be the facilitator of your curriculum each and every Saturday as we navigate through this cray-cray world of Power Directors. So let me break down exactly how the show goes. I think most of you guys should know this, but I got to say it for all the newbies out there. I'm going to start off saying hola to some of my friends and family who joined us today. And then I'm going to go through my topics for the day, talk to you guys, run my mouth for a minute. And then I'll get into the Q&A section where I answer some of your questions from the live streams on Facebook and YouTube. Got it? Let's get it. Let's see who joined us today. Priorities. We got to have these priorities in line, all right? All right, let's see. I got John Velasco. What's up, John? I ain't seen you in a minute. He said, I was thinking about you the other day. Hey, my brother, I'm glad that I'm on your mind. I don't know why I'm on your mind. Look, brother, I don't know. Maybe just trying to see if I'm still kicking. I'm still kicking, bruh. I'm still kicking. All right. We got Neil Forbes in the house. What's up, Neil? How you doing, man? He said, I'm very much self-taught when it comes to editing video. I started with PD5, which was really the basic version with no frills. PD5, man, you from the old school, Neil. You know what's up, okay? We got one of my head moderators in charge, Peter J. Milner. What's up, Peter? How you doing all the way from the UK, bringing the ruckus? All right. Let's see who else we got here. We got Cindy Lou, too. She says, finally made it to the live. So happy to see you back, Malik. Thank you, Cindy Lou. 2. You happy as well. Okay, let's see. Who else we got in the building right now? Oh, we got another one of my moderators in the building, Steve Williams. He says, greetings all. What's up, Steve? Thank you for joining us from the Limitless Wave. We got Pollyanna. What's up, Pollyanna's World? She says Pollyanna is in the house because here in Northeast PA, even though it is sunny, it's only 23 freaking degrees outside. She didn't say freaking. I threw that in for a little bit of, spice. And she said, that will probably be our high for the day. Woo-wee. Okay. I'm in a blistering 66 degrees in the middle of, the first day of February. So I can't complain. All right, we got Brian. Brian Royston says, hello. What's up, Brian? Thank you for joining us for the live stream, my friend. We got Mark in the building. What's up, Mark? He said, early Saturday. Glad I made it from Cali. Oh, man, look, it's 9 a.m. out there. Hope you got your coffee in, Mark. Hope you ready to go. All right, let's see. What else we got here? Jenna's Bus said, would be nice to have a few tutorials how to incorporate AI into video editing and production, as I think this is where the world is going. You are right, Jenna's Bus. This is where the world is going. And my tutorial on Tuesday is actually going to be about the AI talking avatar. So make sure you tune in to check that out on Tuesday. I'm dropping new tutorials every Tuesday. There's so many different topics. Like, my mind is going crazy with all the different stuff I can do with these different tutorials because I've been out the game for a minute. I do need to refresh some of the old tutorials out there because of the interface. You guys know it's all changed up. So there's that going on too. So you will see a mix of new and maybe some things you've seen before just with the new interface so that it can get refreshed for all of the people who are trying to learn how to use the software so that they can get caught up to speed. All right. So it's on my radar. AI is definitely on the freaking radar. All right. Let's see who else we got joining us. It's Ode Sharoni. Los Angeles is in the building. What's up, LA? Never been there. Need to go. Fred, the web guy, says, cheers from Canada. So glad you brought back your PD wizardry. I brought it back. Just for you, Fred. All right. We got Keith's TVHD says, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, sir. Wherever you from. Of course, and Neil, I got news. Neil Forbes, my man Neil. You always talk about what time it is. You know what? I can't put time zones for every place all over the earth, brother. I can only put the time zone for where I am. I'm glad you joining us from where you at, though. I love you, bruh. That's a little inside thing between me and Neil. Y'all may not be aware of this. All right, who else we got here? Wide Open Throttle says, hello from Sweden. What's up? Sweden's in the building, y'all. Come on now. Shoot, we getting worldwide love up in here. Mango Edit says, hello. I was actually waiting for your videos. I started watching them when COVID was here, and I had learned so many things. Really love the way you taught how to improve video editing. Mona. Thank you, Mona. I appreciate the kind words. All right. So I think I'm good with the hellos and everything. I know there's a few people I missed, like Stu and Gianeppi and some other people out there. So, we'll get to that. We'll get to all of you and all of your comments later on. But I want to get into the meat and taters, of what's going on today. So I got a few topics I wanted to share with you. All right. So when you're beginning video editing and you first started off and you were like, hey, this is a great thing. I want to get into it. Did you have problems like with the software, learning how to get up to speed and everything? Because I know I did. Like, I come from the old school. Okay, Neil, you talk about PD5. I come from a school where I was doing videos before digital video editing was even around. Like, I was taping on VHS and splicing and all type of stuff like that. So when video editing became digital and I started to jump into it, I was buying like all kind of different programs to figure out which one I liked, which one I didn't like, which one was easy for me to use, and which one fit my workflow. So I used Pinnacle Studio, I used Corel before they merged. I used Adobe, not Premiere Pro, but I guess the version before Premiere Pro, like the basic version. I use that. I use PowerDirector. I use all types of things, and I was all mixed up with what I could and couldn't do with different programs. So I kind of like sat into one, and it was PowerDirector. But still, even then, I didn't know everything. And I used to get mad with the software, but it wasn't really the software's fault. It was my fault because I didn't do a lot of research before using it. And I ran into a bunch of issues that I probably could have avoided if I would have did my research before I bought anything. Like I said, I was out there buying all kinds of stuff, like just get in there and try it. See, how this makes sense, yada. And some of it did make sense because of my editing background before I got into digital video editing. But some of it, I was just confused, didn't know what the hell to do. So today, for all you newbies out there, if there's any newbies in the building, I'm going to share some of the things, like 3 things in specific, that I wish I knew before I started using PowerDirector, so that you guys don't make the same freaking mistakes that I made, when I started off. So the first thing I want to share is that your computer must surpass the minimum standards for the software. All right. So that is like vitally important. Let me share something with you guys. Of course, you know how I like to do. I like to share screens with y'all just because it's the type of dude that I am. All right. So there's a lot of stuff on here that you got to really know about. And the first thing is the operating system. That's usually the easiest thing, right? So for PowerDirector 365, there's a Mac version and there's a Windows version. Like, so for Windows, you got to have Windows 10 or 11. That's to have 64-bit, right? So keep in mind, if you got like version before Windows 10 or 11, which you might have, you might be able to get away with using PowerDirector, but there could be issues with it as well. So a lot of people will still get in. They don't care. They got Windows 8 or whatever. And they're blaming the software for everything, where it might be a compatibility issue because the software wasn't made to work with a previous version of Windows. So it's really important that we make sure that when we buy software, whatever software it is, it doesn't even have to be PowerDirector. It can be anything, that you're looking at it and making sure that your operating system is up to snuff with what they're using with it, right? So then the next thing is your processor. So your CPU processor needs to be one that is going to be able to handle video editing that PowerDirector will be doing, because some of the video editing work is done with your GPU, and you can even set it up for that the majority of your video editing is done through your GPU, right? You can change your hardware decoder, hardware encoder to match, to use your GPU on your video graphics card. But there's still some work that needs to be done by your CPU. Might be less, but you still got to make sure that your CPU is a processor that is compatible. So you got Intel Core i series, so 6th generation or above, or AMD Ryzen series and above. So it gives you also some specifics about, okay, so if you want to do full HD video editing, you got to have Intel Core i5. So let's say you had a Intel Core i3. That's enough to run the program, but it's not sufficient for a full HD, is what it shows right here. If you want to do 2K, 4K, or 360 videos, it's telling you that you need to have an i7 processor or more. So if you have an i5 and you're trying to do 4K video, your processor might struggle as you go through and you're trying to create 4K video or even 360 video. So this is why it's important to look at this stuff, because there are little intricacies that you don't know about. And you're like, man, it's messing up. I can't do 4K, and you're mad and you're upset. Could be because your processor isn't up to snuff, right? Very important information here. And this is the type of research that a lot of people don't do. I think we just came to a place in the world where we just freaking hate reading. Okay? We don't want to read nothing. We don't want to read manuals. We don't want to do research. We want to just jump right on in and start using something and want it to work. That ain't how things go. Technology is very complex, people. All right? So the next thing I wanted to touch on is your video card or your graphics processing unit, your GPU. So as you can see here, there are a lot. There's a lot of different information here about your video card, your graphics card. So it starts off saying you need a 128 megabyte VGA VRAM, virtual RAM, or higher. So 1 gigabyte or higher of virtual RAM and OpenCL capable are recommended. And then it's got to be DirectX 11 compatible for 360 video editing. So once again, if your graphics card, your GPU is not compatible with DirectX 11 and you're trying to do 360 video, you might struggle. You might not be able to do it at all, right? Also, 2 gigabytes of VGA virtual RAM or higher for the AI plugin. Once again, okay, I want to use the AI plugin. Okay, do you have 2 gigabytes of VGA VRAM or higher? Bunch of questions, right? There's things that get you thinking like, man, I didn't even look at any of this. And I bet you a lot of people out here like, man, I never looked at none of this. And I'm just wondering like, hey, now I know maybe why I couldn't do X, Y, or Z. So then it breaks it down to different graphics cards like NVIDIA. It recommends these types of graphics cards. I'm not going to go through all of them, of course, but there's a bunch of different ones on there. AMD or ATI, you got all the different graphics cards that they recommend for those. And then Intel HD graphics 6th generation or above. So your graphics card or your GPU, if you set it up in the software, it's going to do most of the heavy lifting for you, right? But you got to make sure that you got one that's capable of doing the type of functions that you want to do. And this is where it tells you what the specifications need to be on your GPU to do specific functions. So great page for you to go check out. All right. Then we got neural processing unit, your NPU. So this is more like, for my understanding of an NPU, is that it really works with your power consumption, right? So it says the Intel Core Ultra and above for that, pretty simple. Then Qualcomm and Snapdragon X Elite. Screen resolution, that's just recommended, for best viewing for you. And then memory, 8 gigabytes are required, but it recommends 16 gigs or higher. The more memory you got, the better. If you can afford it, go all the way as high as like 64 gigs. That's my recommendation. My machine right now has 32. But if you can pay enough to get 64 gigs, grab them, put them in there, those cards in the card slots, and rock with it. Now, things like hard disk space, they're not really, big for me. Like, it depends on how much video editing you're going to be doing. I don't really think it's a big deal. Of course, you probably get a smoother experience if you have can't even think of a SSD that the software is on your machine. Probably have a better experience with that. Even if you have your media files on a SSD, you might have a better experience with that. The size of the SSD is giving you recommendations for certain things. So it says you need at least 7 gigs required. That's a minimum that you need to have of your disk space. And then 10 gigabytes for DVD production, but it recommends 20, right? So 20 would get you a better experience. And then 60 gigabytes for Blu-ray disc and AVC HD, but it recommends 100 gigs for that. So keep those things in mind. Your burner drive, internet connection, other stuff, not so big on those. Not a big deal for me. So those aren't the things that I really focus on from that perspective. But another thing that I do focus on, this is number 2 on my list. And, I haven't even been, I got to make sure I'm sharing the right things with you guys, So the first thing on my list was minimum systems requirements. And I just felt like putting that lower third on there. It's kind of fancy. I like it. I know I already talked about it, but damn it, I like it. But the next thing I want to talk about is import and export capabilities of PowerDirector. So I did a survey on Facebook, and I asked all my PD peeps on my Facebook page. And if you're not following my Facebook page, get involved, people. There's a lot of good questions, conversations, all kind of stuff going on my Facebook page. You missing out. If you ain't up in there, you're missing it. Now, on this, I have put a survey out. I said, what video files do you wish PowerDirector could import? Now, surprisingly enough, and it just made my heart flutter. This made me feel so good inside. 66% of the people said RAW. So they wanted to have RAW video files, right? You got 16% that were at 12-bit 422. And then there was a tie, 9% for 8-bit 444 and other. Now, I also asked the same question to my beautiful PD peeps on my YouTube page. So if you're not subscribed to me on YouTube, get subscribed, get involved, people. And in that poll, it was very similar to the other one. 71% of the people was 92 votes. 71% of the votes said RAW. 14% said 12-bit 422. 10% said other. And 5% said 8-bit 444. Now, this is what the people have said. The people have spoken, PowerDirector. Maybe a small sample size, but damn it, they've spoken. All right. And at the end of the day, you see a lot of great comments on here. One, just wish they would improve the files to the Apple Mac. Yeah, we know Mac need to play catch up still, man. It's crazy. All right, so we had a little buffering there or something. Another comment: be great if PD 365 would take in Insta360 video without the need to process them through Insta360 Studio. It would be nice. Neil said that his camera doesn't have it, but raw video would be great. They could create MP4 files, but if he was going to get a camera that did raw, then that would be great. Then you got some other comments on there too. But at the end of the day, what I find to be interesting to me is that PowerDirector has a great place for you to go look that talks to you about the different file formats that are imported. So once again, as a beginner video editor, I was like, I really wasn't paying any attention to what file formats could be used, imported or exported. I just bought the software and I started going, right? This is important nowadays, especially because there are so many different devices out there that create so many different file formats or codecs. And if you don't pick the right one, like you can pick one that works great with your device, but it might not be able to be imported in the PowerDirector if you're not paying attention to the different file formats that it can import. And then if you're trying to export something to use with something else per se, if you're not aware, you may think you can export a different type of file format, but you can't. So some of the file formats that are listed here, and I'm not going to go like in depth into all the different breakdowns of them, but for video file import, PowerDirector can import H.265. It could import MOV files depending on the bit rate. So if you look down here near the bottom of this section, it says MOV, but these are the MOV types that it could take: H.264 in 8-bit 420. And another type of codec for MOV is Apple ProRes in 10-bit 422 and V210 YUV in 10-bit 422. So if you're creating like a ProRes file and it's 442, it won't work, right? So some people don't know this stuff. So you got to make sure that you understand what type of files you can import in PowerDirector. And it also, of course, can import 360 video, but only the 360 equirectangular projection video format. So when you saw that comment in YouTube about, hey, I wish you could get the raw into 365, here it's telling you it can't. You can't do that. Now, of course, it would be nice if it could, but it can't. It can only take the equirectangular video format for 360 video, right? So there's that. Now, there's also images for the most part. I mean, most image types are supported. You got BMP, GIF, animated GIF, JPEGs, PNG, TIFF, and HEIC. That's not all the image format types, but it's a pretty good wide range. And with most photo editors, you could convert it to one of these types if you needed to. Then you got some types of raw images that PowerDirector can support, which is cool. So it says Cyberlay PowerDirector also supports the import of the following camera raw image formats, which are then converted to JPEG once they're imported. So just keep in mind, if you like put any of these into PowerDirector and you really shouldn't be doing any type of raw image color correction in PowerDirector. Anyway, you should use PhotoDirector for that. But if you bring it into PowerDirector, it's going to turn it to a JPEG, and you can still do things with the settings, but it's not going to be the same as doing any type of color changes to a raw file, right? And then for images, it also takes on 360 photos if they're in the equirectangular format, okay? Audio file inputs, you got these different audio files. Once again, I think this is a pretty good range. LUTs, you got the different LUT formats here. These are the ones that are almost used in everything. And then for export, it's important to know about the video file export because it cannot export MOV. What that means is if you're trying to create something that has a transparent background, PowerDirector can't do that. MOV files are the most popular type of video files that have transparencies to them. So you can't do MOVs, no ProRes MOV either. So keep in mind, it's 2D video, MPEG-2, Windows, H.264 in 8-bit. Okay, so if you're trying to do like 10-bit, that ain't happening. All right. So you got MKV in 8-bit, H.265 in 8-bit. You get the picture. Okay, a lot of different formats there. Same thing for images. It can only export JPEG, PNG, APNG and animated GIFs. And then you got your few audio file formats there, the main ones that are, those are probably the most popular ones anyway. So that's the second thing that I really wish I paid attention to or knew when I started using PowerDirector or when I started doing any digital video editing. Like, so thing number one, your system, your machine has to be up to snuff. A lot of different things you need to look at and make sure that your machine can do in order to do certain tasks and functions using the software. And the second thing is, what can the software do for me? What type of files can it take in and import? And what type of files can I export from it? Now, another thing that is important to me besides those two things is you enjoying this video. Okay, I hope you're liking what you're seeing so far. And if you do, click the thumb, the one that's pointed in the upward direction. Click it, like it, live it, love it, hug it. And don't forget that super chats and super stickers are very well appreciated. So if you can afford to do so, thank you so much. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe to PowerDirector University so you can catch these live streams. You can catch my tutorials. You can get up in all the fun on our YouTube page with our community. And also follow me on your preferred social media platform, whether that be TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Follow your boy. All right. Now, the last topic I wanted to talk about before we get into the Q&A is thing number 3 that I wish I knew before I started using PowerDirector. And that is, where the hell can I get some help with this damn thing? I need some help. So when I first started, I was like, where do I go to get help? Nobody wants to go to customer support. It takes too long. Everybody wants fast answers nowadays. So unfortunately, sometimes you got to go to customer support, right? That's the first place that you got to know about. If you don't know, this would be the place to start anyway. Because even if you don't want to wait, it doesn't hurt to search, see if your topic's already addressed here, right? Maybe you can find the answer right now. And if you can't, you can send a report ticket to them. It might take some days. And while you're waiting, try to find the help somewhere else. Go elsewhere and try to look for help. But at the end of the day, where to get support is like vitally important. We got to know exactly where we can go when things aren't working how we want them to work. This is where I started finding like some of the answers to things, and I was like, well, why can't I do this or why can't I do that? Well, because your computer sucks, right? That was what they told me. They actually said those words. No, they didn't. So, so basically, because there were things I didn't know, and I was being brought up to speed on a lot of stuff when I first started using it. So this is the first thing, like the first place to rock out. Put your questions in. Next place was the PowerDirector forum. So the PowerDirector forum has changed leaps and bounds from when I first started. I really think that when I first started the PowerDirector forum, and I don't know right now, I ain't been in this forum in a minute, but the forum that I used to go to and know and love was like a community of a lot of people out there just helping each other. Kind of like of people who love the program, they love the software, they love to help other people, and we all come together. And that's what the forum was to me. Now, you can still go here. I still would recommend going here because there's still a lot of great people out here using the forums who are answering questions, who are doing things, who are helping out. Don't look at it as that, hey, it's not what it used to be. I think that it's still a vital resource. And I don't use it as much as I used to. I need to get back into it, but because I used to go in there and answer questions and help people out a lot too. But as you guys know, I kind of stepped away from PowerDirector for a minute. So I just need to get reacclimated and get back into it. But this is a great place to get help. And another place where you can always go and get help is here. This, my friends, is the creme de la creme as far as I'm concerned. Okay. PowerDirector Users Group on Facebook. And this is a group that I created many years ago. We got 10,000 members right now. And that is like a great resource for anyone, a huge community of users who are here to answer questions and help you out with stuff. So if you have not joined this users community on Facebook, you need to join immediately, because there's always questions, there's always answers, there's always people sharing information. A lot of great stuff going on here within the community. Funny stuff. Steve Williams, Limitless Way, is always putting me on blast. Pictures of me doing crazy stuff. I be at Jack Nicholson in The Shining, giving shout outs. We got Throwback Thursdays. We got all kind of great stuff on here. So please, please, please feel free. Join our community. Rock out with us. Have a good time. And, use this resource to help you get up to speed on the software. And even if you think you know it a lot, it's just a place to talk to like-minded people who use the same software as you and understand your accomplishments, as well as like the drawbacks sometimes that we go through using things. So please feel free, join PowerDirector University or PowerDirector users. All right. So those are the 3 topics that I wanted to talk about today. So what that means to me is it's time for Q&A. All right, so I'm going to go back in time a little bit on here. You go ahead and stop this thing here and just focus on the loveliness. You see it. All right, so we got Brian Royston in the building. He says, I need to know why when exporting a file, it takes longer to export after the last update. I have hardware accelerator on, but notice that it has an NPU setting in it now. Yeah, so first things first. NPU setting, and if you're using that, it's going to slow it down because it's trying to use less power consumption type of setting. So make sure that you don't have that selected. I would not have that selected if I were you. Hardware acceleration, great. You should have that on for decoding and encoding. Make sure that if you go to the export. Matter of fact, let me just pull this up, man. Look, this is what I do. Okay, this is what I do, Brian. This is what I do. Okay, pull this up for your viewing pleasure. Even if you don't like it, it's too bad. I'm going to pull it up anyway. Let's see if I can get this where I want it. All right, I think I got what I want here. I'm going to share my screen. We shall hope that this works out, right? So, Mr. Royston, so you're in the user preferences here, and you go to hardware acceleration. So, enable hardware decoding. Great. The AI feature processor tells you if you're using AI, right, for better performance, choose program auto decides. And if you want to have better power consumption, you choose NPU. So it's a power saving option. High performance, power saving, keep it on this one, high performance. Now, the other thing is you got to go to your export settings. If you go to export, what I would say is make sure that you have blocky artifacts on. You want to reduce that. You want to reduce noise if you do MPEG-2 or H.264. So that's all gravy. Click on OK. And then the last thing that you want to do is when you export something, and a few different options on here too. So let's say we're under recommended here. If you go to advanced, you have options here to make sure that hardware encoding is on as well, so that it uses your GPU on your graphics card. You want to select your graphics card here, right? If you want to use SVRT, you can. So when you pick SVRT and you click on OK, it's smart video rendering technology. What that does is it makes it doesn't make PowerDirector, the software says, hey, what files in your timeline do I not have to render, right? Or how can I create an output that I don't have to render everything in a timeline, which makes things faster. So it's really trying to figure out, okay, based on the majority of the clips you have, what's the best way to do this so I don't have to render everything for this guy, okay? And if you click on Profile Analyzer, it's going to, you can't even see any of these windows, which sucks. But believe me, you click on Profile Analyzer, click on Advanced, and click on Profile Analyzer, and you get an option for Intelligent SVRT, and it will tell you, hey, this is the way you need to export this file. It'll tell you the file type, frame rate, the resolution, and if you click on OK, then what will happen after you do that is the software will then change all the settings. You have to give it a profile name, but it'll change all the settings to then match what is best to export the fastest. So step one, go to your hardware acceleration, fix that. Go to your export, fix that. All your preferences where you want them. Then when you go to the export tab, go all the way down to the bottom and go to advanced, right? Choose your graphics card if you want to do it that way. If you want to use Intelligent SVRT, then choose software encoding, and then come out of there and click on Profile Analyzer and click on OK. Okay, hope that helps and gets things sped up for you, Brian. All right. If not, if you want to blame the program, blame it all you want to. All right. Let's see what other questions we got. We got some people just dropping in. I'll say some hellos on here. We got Star Musica87. He says, hello from Auckland, New Zealand. What's up? What's up? What's up? We got Giuseppe Nuska, Ben Tornado, Malik. Okay, not sure what that means, but I like how it sounds. Okay. We got Rakabul Hassan Rakib from Bangladesh in the building. Video Moments Productions, Marsha Sue from San Diego. What's up, Marsha Sue? All right, let's see if I got any more questions on here. We got some love. We're getting some love from some other people on here. Robert Blackburn says howdy. Rue Luna says on mobile app, how to rejoin split clips. So I have not used the mobile app in who does the mobile app at all. So anybody else here who uses the mobile app and can help Rue Luna out with that, please do. I don't want to give you an answer like some BS from back in the day when I used the mobile app because that functionality may not be there anymore. So sorry about that, Rue Luna. I'm not the mobile app guy anymore. I gave up on the mobile app. All right. We got Lino Renzi. What's up, Lino? He says, welcome back, King Malik. That's right, damn it. Got my crown right here. King Malik, baby. We got Chris Lauderback, another one of my moderators. Thank you, Chris, for joining us. He says, as you repeat PD basic tubes, don't forget to cover the MI of photo director, color director, etc. MI integration, right? So definitely we'll be using some of those basic tutorials where I use both of them together, where I brought in photo director to edit some images, where I brought in color director to do some color correction as well as some color grading using LUTs. So yes, I will definitely be bringing some of that stuff back from the dead. All right. Cindy Lou 2 says 35 watching. Where the likes? That's what I'm wondering. How many likes we got right now? Like, it's free. Don't cost you nothing to hit the like button. The like button is how you show your appreciation for the video, for the live stream, for me giving you some time today to lounge with your boy. Okay? So please hit that thumb, hit the like button. All right? Thank you for the reminder, Cindy Lou 2. Sure, I got somebody in my corner here. Peter says, my first editing software was a very early version of Pinnacle Studio. I had Pinnacle Studio too, and I think you know that. I also had a YouTube channel where I made tutorials for Pinnacle Studio as well, and it was pretty good. I had like 50,000 subscribers or something like that on there. I can't remember. I haven't looked at it in so long. But those tutorials, that was a good channel. I had that channel and PowerDirector University running at the same time. It was cray, y'all. It was cray. All right. Neil says, when I started video editing, it was long before I jumped onto YouTube. I was burning my content to DVD initially. Yes, sir. I was doing the same thing. I was that wasn't the first thing I was doing. First, I was on VHS, which tells you, I was way back into the depths of the dungeons of video editing. But yeah, I went through the DVD period too, my brother. DVD, AVC HD, Blu-ray. I went through all of that, and I was like going to like sporting events, and I was making DVDs for people. Like, so I would go to like a tournament, right? All weekend tournament. And I would like go the first day and make all the games. And then I would go home that night. I would go ahead and burn all these DVDs for the different teams and stuff. And I would come back the next day and we'd have a table set up where I was selling DVDs from the previous games. And I wasn't selling them. Like my wife would sell them, or, whoever else I was there with, somebody from my family. And I would go to the next game and go record all the games, as many games as I could. Or I even had like a table set up where, like, if there were multiple games going on at the same time, people could request and pay me to go do a specific game, so that they would make sure that I created a DVD for that game. So, they would pay me and I would go to that specific game in the gym, because there might be like 4 courts playing at the same time, right? So I had that set up where people would pay me to go get certain games and then sell the DVDs the next day and yada, yada. And then if I was there the last day of the tournament, I had a table set up where you could like order DVDs and give me a mail address, and I would send you the DVDs from the game and stuff like that. So yeah, I was in the DVD world too, man. I was deep in it. I still got, and you can't see it, I have like a multi DVD maker, so that basically when I was going to them games, I would record it. I would make my DVD in PowerDirector, and then I would stick that DVD into the duplicator, and I could make 5 more DVDs or 4 more. I think it was 4. I think I could make 4 more DVDs. So I would just keep making DVDs, I keep duplicating them. It was a crazy ass operation, man, but it was fun. Let's see. We got John Lavelle says, Captain JD Vance, Hillbilly Faith, Magic Medicine, help you edit better. Interesting. Yeah, I like to say interesting. I don't know where to go there. Let's see. Mark says, strange thing about PowerDirector that I discovered is on many laptops with dedicated graphics cards, PowerDirector will pull from integrated graphics before using a dedicated card. That can cause serious compatibility bottleneck issues. Tower is definitely the best way to use this program. Basically, I agree. So and then I found that strange too. Like, I don't know why, like laptops, right? I don't know if it's the internals, the build process, or how they build the laptops versus a tower, but I don't like editing on laptops at all. MacBook Pro edit, I don't care what it is. I just don't. Like, I would rather use a tower every single time, simply because I know, to your point, Mark, that I have all of the control over the hardware, over what hardware does what. I can go into different systems and part of it and do what I need to get done. So I agree with you wholeheartedly, man. Get yourself a tower if you ain't got one. If you edit it on a laptop, good luck to you. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. My recommendation is get yourself a tower. And if you can afford to, build your own PC. And not even if you can afford to, because I'll put it to you like this. I think it's cheaper in most cases to build your own PC than it is to buy one, because the PC that you buy, if you buy a spec'd out PC, it's going to cost you more than building a spec'd out PC. Let's put it that way. Because you could buy a PC that's cheap as hell and it's ready to go, but it's not going to be spec'd. the way that you want it to be. As soon as you start adding more specs and making your PC more capable, your tower more capable, the cost goes up exponentially because they're a company that is building it for you and there's labor involved. So they're charging you for the price of the components and the labor to build it. So it ends up costing more to get a spec'd out tower than it is for you to build your own spec'd out tower. So, and I had to learn how to build a PC. I built my own PC. I helped my son build his PC. But I mean, there's a lot of great videos out there on YouTube that help you learn how to do this stuff. So this is a time of YouTube, people. YouTube's a teacher. All right. Rue Luna said, I paid for the mobile app before I knew of the PC version. Can't afford both. LOL. That's, hey, you know what? Those are the facts, Rue Luna. Straight up facts. Everybody can't afford to have both. And I understand that. Like, there's a lot of people out there who feel like if you buy the PC version, you should get the app version for free, or vice versa, which I can't really argue with. But Cyberlink is a company trying to make money off of the things that it's creating, so they have the right to charge however they want to. But yeah, it's rough out there. Everybody can't afford to get all these different versions of stuff and build their own PC or buy a PC or whatever the case may be, or make sure their PC have all the specs it needs to run PowerDirector. I understand all of that, right? And maybe you try to do something and you want to do something and you find out that, well, my PC won't do it, so I can't buy PowerDirector, and maybe it makes you make a different buying decision. I don't know. I just wish I knew these three things before I started, before I went into having PowerDirector. Steve said, CPU is massively important for PD, far more important than anything else, providing you have enough RAM. Yeah. So to his point, like, we can't overlook, even if you're using your GPU for encoding, like the CPU, if you look at your task manager when you're running PowerDirector, you're going to see, even if like you shut down everything else, like you'll see how much of the processing power of your CPU that Cyberlink PowerDirector is using. It is intense, and it can be very intense based on the operations and the things that you're doing. So your CPU is an important component. And like I said, all this stuff costs money, but at least I like to think that I over spec my machine when I put it together. We talked about the like Core i series and i5 and i7 are the things that, like, the highest recommendations that PowerDirector has is i7. I have an i9 processor, so I'm well far above the needs for the amount of gigahertz. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm above what I need to have for my processor. That's just the way I get down. I want to make sure that everything is running smoothly and working like butter when I go through. But to Steve's point, CPU is vital, right? And that's why it's listed on the list, because they want you to know. They'll point you right in that sucker. Like, hey, you need your CPU ain't good enough. You know, they won't say that, but you know, they'll point it to you. Oh, good Lord. This is like, let me tell you something. John, this is not the place for political discussions, brother. If you want to talk about politics, please go somewhere else to talk about it. This ain't the place for it. I don't care who you like, who you don't like. That's not important at all to me. This is about PowerDirector. This ain't about all that other stuff, man. So, hey, moderators, I'm not up to speed on where the chat is, but if you feel like John is overstepping or anything like that, feel free. Do what you got to do. All right? Let's keep it going. Let's keep it all friendly and nice. We don't need all of this crazy conversation going on. Neil says, I don't try to do 360 degree videos. I keep it fairly simple. Yeah, you know, some people use 360 and some people don't. I mean, it depends on what you're doing, what you're into. Everybody has their own preference. And so having that capability with PowerDirector makes it so that those people who want to create 360 video can, and they have a good time doing it. Peter says, for AM editing machine, my go-to CPU is at least an i9. Like I said, that's what I got. I would not go any lower than that for me. Like, people have to buy what they can afford. I understand that. And some people might not want to spend that much, but you get what you pay for. That's when that statement really means something when you talk about your computer and your processor. Steve says CyberRink really needs to update their system requirements for PD. It's grossly out of date. Yeah, I can't say that it's not. I'm not gonna argue with you there, bro. Uh, that they all of that stuff that we look on there, there's a lot of stuff that's new technology out there that they're not even mentioning, and really, to your point, needs to be updated. We got another reminder from Michael. Hit that like button, y'all. Yes, thank you, Michael. Michael got my back. Hit that like button. John says I have bad shoulders, so I like things to do the heavy lifting. Me too. But I ain't got bad shoulders. But I look, brother. It's all about the waist and below for me. The hips and the knees. The hips and the knees, please. All right. Let's see here. What else we got? Peter said, since my last editing machine died, I now have a Dell XPS 17 9730, which is an i9 64 gigabyte RAM, NVIDIA 4070 GPU, 2 terabyte NVMe, that's your hard disk, your SSD, y'all, for OS and software, and a second 8 terabyte NVMe for data, footage, and projects. Ooh-wee! Sound like he got a love machine. He got a love machine. Can't nobody edit that like you. He got a love machine. I like that. Look, I'm gonna tell you like this. Now, my system pretty close. Not up to them stats, baby. I got an i9 32 gigabyte. My Nvidia is I can't remember, 2 terabyte something. I can't remember. I got 1 terabyte NVMe for OS and software, and I got a second 1 terabyte for footage, data, and projects. But I also have a QNAP hard drive that has like 4 8 terabyte hard drives in it. So that's what I use for my data and storage. Like it's kind of like an archive data house because it's a hard drive. I don't edit on it, right? When I want to edit something that I have on a hard drive, I bring it to one of my NVMe SSDs, and that's what I do the editing on, right? For the data, footage, projects, all that stuff. I do that on there, but I have 32 terabytes that I have to archive on that QNAP drive. So that's what I use that for. But I like that. Great setup. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, Peter said, this is Ru Luna. There are 2 PDU channels. One focuses on the PC version of PD and the other one on the mobile version. So to answer your question, yes. What was her question? Yeah. So I guess she asked, in general, does this channel cover the mobile app ever? So Peter gave you the answer to that. There's another channel, and it covers the app, but it's probably going to be outdated. But you could probably still follow it and get a lot out of it. Let me see if I can pull that up for you. I'm going to pull up my screen in a second here. I'm going to do a little searching here. It's called PowerDirector App Tutorials. And I'm going to pull up that channel just so you. So this is the other channel that I used to have. It's called PowerDirector App Tutorials. So this is the one. There's 262 videos out there. So I was pumping them out. I was pumping them out. But not anymore. There's a lot of different videos on here that you can check out. Some of these, the interface that might have changed. There might be some changes to some of the stuff. So just keep that in mind as you watch these videos. You may need to determine, okay, so where is that button now that the interface has changed? Or where is that? Where do I tap on now that the interface has changed? So keep that in mind. There could be some interface changes that are not going to be on here. So there's that. All right. Let's see. All right, what else we got? So California Fan said anyone on Mac should be using Final Cut. Problem with RAW is too many different versions for PD to support, but 422 color is a standard that should be across the board and absolutely doable for PD. Yeah, I mean, if you think of RAW, like, I'll put it to you this way. There are editing software. There is editing software that supports multiple types of RAW formats, right? So they exist, and it can be done. But to your point, it's probably more work than they want to do, and it's probably not cost efficient for them. It probably would cause them to have to increase price, because most codecs you have to have a license for, if not all codecs, and so that there's a cost associated with it. So just keep that in mind. I think that is a good point. At the end of the day, other people can do it. So could PowerDirector do it? Yeah, they could, but business decisions, man. It's how it gets down. Neil says, I'm happy with what my camera has produced for the moment. Actually, I'm more interested in a camera that can use a remote microphone for my piece to camera sequences. Yeah, so remote microphone. I mean, if you look at different types of microphones out there, there's a lot of different microphones that have that type of capability, like that have a transmitter that you can use. Like Rode has a bunch of different mics with transmitters that should be able to have remote capability. So you can check those out and see. They might even be compatible with your device through interface, like through the mic interface, through the millimeter plug. So I can't remember which one. I can't think of which one it is off the top of my head. Let's see. Game Life 44 says, hello, PDU and chat. Excited to be here for this information. Thank you, sir. Glad you could join us. Pollyanna's World said, I asked my tutorial friends for help. PD made simple, Sharper Turtle, PDU. Yep, we always there. We are there to help all the time. Sharper Turtle, PD made simple. Seth the Me Street said, I need to step away from PowerDirector and learn a software that just works. Well, I think PowerDirector could do a good job of making sure that it just works. And they should be doing that. I think, like I talked about in the last live stream that I did, with us paying for a subscription, I think that it's their responsibility to make sure that we get the best product out there. What I will also say is, if you go and Google any video editing software out there and put the word problem or issue or broken or fixed behind it, every program messes up. Every program has issues. There is not a perfect program out there that works all the time. And I can tell you that from experience. I have used Adobe Premiere Pro. I have used Final Cut on my Mac. I have used DaVinci Resolve. I still use DaVinci Resolve. And I can tell you that I have experienced issues with every single one. Now, with that being said, how often have I had issues? And to be truthful with you, probably not as many as I've seen with PowerDirector, but there's always going to be an issue. So if you say, I need a software that just works, not sure what just works means, but if it means it works all the time, you're never going to find that because every software fails at some point. Let's see. See some conversations going on here about different things. Chico Juanito II said, how to sync audio when you have two videos that are filmed with different cameras. Okay, so you can sync audio. There's multiple ways you can sync the audio when you have videos that are filmed with different cameras. So the first thing is make sure that you like clap or have some type of indicator that you're starting at the beginning of the video. You can manually you can separate audio from video by right-clicking on it, and you can do unlink audio and video. You can drag how you want if you need to do that to get it linked up, or you can just manually move the different video clips with the audio still on it to make them link up. Spread out your timeline so you can see each frame of your audio wave and do it. You can also right-click and select to sync by audio with PowerDirector, so it'll automatically sync the audio for you using the waveform. Now, the last thing I want to bring up is sometimes when you record with two different video devices, one device might be recording at a variable frame rate and one might be recording at a constant frame rate. What happens when you do that is there's audio drift because the variable frame rate is variable. It's switching all over the place to try to make it easier for the device that's recording to continue recording. Sometimes it needs to change the frame rate. So it uses a variable frame rate. So when you have that, you tend to have some drift in the audio from the two different videos. If you're experiencing a drift in the two different video files, then what you should do is whichever clip is using a variable frame rate, take that video, put it into a free program called Handbrake, like your hand brake, and then convert it to a constant frame rate. I have videos out there showing how to do that, how to change from a variable frame rate to a constant frame rate. Or if you just want to find it on YouTube, just YouTube search Handbrake, change variable rate to constant frame rate. And you'll find a bunch of different videos on it. You can watch any of them. It doesn't matter. And once you do that, you'll have two constant frame rate videos and you bring them together. They should remove that drift from the audio. So there's that. All right, looks like we got a super chat from Game Life 44. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. He says, I'm new to PowerDirector 365, purchased the Pro version. How can I ensure I have or get all the latest updates with effects, etc.? So if you have PowerDirector 365, then what's happening now is you should have a Cyberlink application manager on your computer. So let's go ahead and pull that up here. Let's see if you can see this. All right. So the Cyberlink application manager actually gives you the capability to update different things. So you can see here that it says Photo Director from Director Suite 365 has an update. Click on this, I'll get the update, right? Right here, I don't see anything else that needs an update as far as my things on my desktop. Now, I might need to look and say, hey, are there any new effects, right? And I can see what's installed and I can see what's available for me to install right here. It'll tell you on the side, install. Also, in PowerDirector itself, whenever there are certain things that will update on their own, like titles. So if you look at titles, it'll show you what's new, right? And it'll push them. Now, you don't have to download them. So if they're sitting here and they have a little arrow pointed up, it means that they're available for you to download. So you just go into titles, and if you see anything in what's new with the little arrow up, you click on it and it will download it so that you can use it on your machine. Okay. Same thing goes with transitions. See, you see, well, I said arrow pointed up like upload. I meant down. Good Lord. You can see here that there's some new transitions that I have not downloaded yet because it has the little arrow pointed down. So these are different things. I can download them and start using them if I want to. Same thing here for effects. You see all these different ones I could download. And the beauty of it is I only need to download it if I need to use it, right? I don't have to download all of these and put them on my machine if I'm not going to use them. Now, you can download them all if you want to. You know, it'll make it quicker to use them the first time you want to use it, but it only takes a few seconds to download. Like, let's say I wanted to download this one. I just click on it. Boom, it's done. Now I don't have to download it anymore. Crazy how this thing keeps dropping the screen for me, but it is what it is. So you see here, we got all of these different effects. Here's one I haven't downloaded. So if I click on download, downloads it for me. Now I can use it. So got all those things. Titles, same thing here. If you go to titles, you got a what's new area. Anything that has the arrow pointed down needs to be downloaded. It's brand new. Like I said, you don't have to download it, but you can if you want to. Overlays, same thing. You can see here, all these have the little arrow pointed down. So if I want, I can download it. It only takes a few seconds, and now I can use it. So basically, it'll tell you what's new, what's hot. It gives you all that type of information right there in your face. Red tick out. All right. Appreciate that super chat, my brother. All right, Dave S. became a YouTube member. Thank you so much, Dave, for becoming a member of my channel. If you are not a member, you can click on join and you can become a member of my channel as well. So there are specific perks that you get. You get badges, you get emojis. If you become a top tier member, a Booyaka tier member, because you know I got that Booyaka tier. If you become a Booyaka tier member, then whenever I upload content to YouTube, you get access to it immediately. Now, let me tell you guys, put you in on a secret. I upload content every week, but I schedule them weeks out. So every week, every Tuesday, you get a new video if you're just a regular subscriber. But if you're a Booyaka tier member, you join my channel, then you're going to see that video weeks before anyone else when I first upload it to YouTube before the date it's scheduled to become public. So you get the first peeks on all of my videos if you are a new member. So Dave, thank you so much for being a member, man. I appreciate the love and the support, man. All right. Let's see here. So y'all guys know the routine, man. I've been on here for an hour already, past an hour, and my wife is going to start yelling at me. So that means that brother got to go. So I appreciate all of you guys for stopping through for another live stream. It means the world to me. I will definitely be here next Saturday to check you out and give you much more Power Director love. So thank you for joining me, guys, and I will see you all next week. Peace.